we're charging realtors $3,000-$4,000 a month and have no idea what it takes to even be a realtor. How is that fair to your client? It's our job to properly lead the client. Most realtors do not know how to run a business, and that's okay because we're not taught that. Realtors are really good at doing, once they have the client, realtors are like, it's off to the races after. They'll show you 30 houses in a day. They do not care, but there's the front half missing. How do you get that first date?
Welcome, everyone, to the Casandra Properties podcast. We're joined today by Khari Harper. This is one of those podcasts that you kind of put a little star next to because it's something we're working really hard on. We have Pete sitting in today. As many of you know, Pete runs the podcast for us. He's our CMO. He has complete oversight on everything we do here. But we want to welcome Khari to the show. How are we doing today, baby?
Can't complain.
Good. Thanks for taking the time out. Before we jump into what you do, which, to kick it off, folks, Khari is kind of self-described as a client acquisition specialist, and we'll get into what all that means as we get into the show. But you've got a pretty amazing story. Your background, we find that there's these common threads in a lot of us serial entrepreneurs. So I was wondering if we can kick it off. Maybe you could share with the audience, Khari, a little bit about your personal life and how you ended up where you are today.
All right, very well. Well, it all started with my mom and dad. That was the beginning of everything. But it's just as I got older, when I turned 18 and I graduated high school, I'm 26 right now. Don't let the bald head fool you. But I graduated high school, and it was just, I've always been on this entrepreneurial journey. I never really wanted to work a 9 to 5. Not that the work isn't hard. It was just more so, I think at that time when you're young, it's more of an egotistical thing. You're like, why do I have to listen to this person when I know I can do better? Basically, I've quit every job that I ever had. I never had a job longer than 6 months. Like never. Khari Harper has never been employed for more than 6 months in his life. From there, I did a little odd jobs, landscaping, selling cars, delivering pizzas. And I always told myself, this was like from 18 to 21, everything I did, I was like, you know what, no matter what job you take, you're going to take pride in it and you're going to learn something from it to get you to that next level. So delivering pizza. Before Uber and DoorDash were like sending notifications that they're around the block, in like 20, whatever it was, 15, I was texting the people I was delivering pizza to saying, hey, GPS says I'll be there in 26 minutes and giving them the updates and just everything. And it was funny because I was like, this would be a really good idea if someone created an app where they'll actually tell you when the food's coming. So trust me, when I saw DoorDash and Uber Eats and everything, I was like, there it is, Khari. And then from there, more odd jobs. I was homeless, so I was couch surfing from like 18 to 22, but I started throwing parties as well for college kids. I never went to college, but I definitely utilized their training grounds. But from there, when I used to throw parties with my friend, I was like, listen, we can't just be like these fraternity guys. How do we create an experience? How do we have a marketing department? How do we ensure and get feedback when people leave the party? How do we make sure everyone's safe? It was just so many things that I've combined. And then I forgot which year, I was 22 years old. I was landscaping and throwing parties at this time, but my friend was like, hey, I'm going to this Fortune Builders event. Why don't you come with me? And I was like, nah, I'm good, man. So I skipped that, but then I saw this party happening in Manhattan, but it was a real estate networking event. And I was like, this is my type of scene. I got like $30 in my bank account, Manhattan rooftop. I can afford it. So I go there, right? And I'm telling everyone I work in landscaping and I host events and everything like that. And then people are looking at me like, why are you even here? So I lived in Israel, by the way. I lived there for 3 years. That's a whole story within itself. So I speak Hebrew. And I hear these guys talking, this guy named Nick talking. He's speaking in Hebrew. So I'm like, listen, nothing's happening here. I just spent my last, $30 on the 2 beers that I bought. So I might as well do something. So I hear this guy, Nick, speaking Hebrew. And I just turn around to him and start speaking Hebrew. And he's with him and his friends. And Nick's an investor in Brooklyn. And he just starts looking at me like, what? So we start talking all night. He's like, listen, this is what I want you to do. He's like, I want you to call this guy tomorrow. His name is Sean. He's my partner. Sean's actually his cousin. And he was like, just sit with him and get an interview. Just interview with him and see if you want to come work with us. And they were doing like short sales and everything. So I was like, you know what? No problem. So I did that. And we were doing cold calling, door knocking. And we were doing this in Brooklyn, not Brooklyn as it is now, Brooklyn as in before, really started making that come up. So we were cold calling, door knocking, everything in the book. And I loved it because he was like, Sean was 26 years old at the time when he hired me. And he was a millionaire. I was like, if he could do it, he came from Israel. And, and he was a locksmith at first and then just built his everything up. Once again, that's that mentality. There's no way I can't do it no matter what. There's no excuse. So did that, made no money at all. I got deals done, but they were short sales, so they were so long. And I'm living in Jersey at the time. I was like, I can't. It's cost $30 to just get to the office in Brooklyn. So from there, I started doing my own thing, and that was like 2016, 2017. So I go back. I was like, hey, listen, hey guys, we're just gonna part ways. I'm gonna do some wholesaling in Jersey first. Because I was like, if I could do this in Brooklyn and get people to actually talk to me and get to the negotiation table, I could do it in New Jersey because people are a lot nicer in New Jersey, or at least they were once upon a time. We did that. And then I met this kid named Jordan. When I say kid, he's a grown man. He's about 10 years older than I am. So he's like, me and him partner up because he had this deal, right? He's like, Khari, can you sell this? I didn't even know him, but he was like, I heard that you do wholesaling. Can you sell it? I was like, hey, listen, I'll try. It was this crappy house in Orange, New Jersey. And we sold it to a guy and I got it done. I got the deal done in like 3 weeks. This is a wholesale deal. So from there, Jordan and I are sitting down like, bro, can you tell me, I cold call and door knock. What are you doing different? He's like, this is the secret. He's like, I use Google ads. And he's like, and I use Facebook ads as well. I was like, what? I was like, advertising online? Okay, sure. Him and I start working together because he has another deal, and another deal, and another deal. I'm like, how much are you spending on advertising? He's like, I pay the company $2,000 a month and I spend around $3,000 a month for the ad spend. I was like, okay. He's getting all these leads in and they're closing and it's working. I was like, yo, nobody's doing this. So Jordan and I, we worked together. And me and him just started killing it after that. 23 deals, wholesale deals in 6 months. And from there, I was like, you know what? I need to get away. And I got my real estate license in 2018 as well. And I basically ran away to Colombia. Personal problems, depression and everything else. When you start making money, but you're not right internally, it never works out. So I was just self-sabotaging the entire way. I went to Colombia, right? So in 2018, I'm in Colombia having the time of my life. I'm sure everyone knows what Colombia is like, So I'm there and I see these kids. There's this kid named Ravi Abuvala. He was a big marketer. Now he's a coach. And I'm meeting all these kids. I'm like, yo, how are you guys 21, 22 living life like this? And they're saying, oh, we just run ads on Facebook. We run ads for realtors. We do this for coaches. The concept was always running ads. So I met this kid named Ravi. He was special. He was making $50,000 a month. And he was running ads and he has his license. So he was sending out referrals as well while traveling the world. Now he makes $400,000 a month. These numbers were insane. I was like, what? And they still sound insane, but not anymore because now you see it's all scalability, but that's a different conversation for later on. I saw Ravi. He told me what he was doing. When I came back from Colombia, I was there for 3 months. I got right to work. Basically, I started running ads. I asked Jordan, that's the guy I was working with in the past. I was like, hey, listen, what can you give me? Can you at least give me a landing page or something that I could use? I bought every course out there. I'm literally spending my credit cards. I'm living in Colombia and I burned out my credit cards to buy courses to learn how to run ads. So that's how it really started, the whole advertising process, the advertising journey.
So we covered a lot of ground there. I got a couple of questions for you. So it sounds like from an early age, and again, this is one of those common themes, you had a hard time going through school because the information just didn't seem relevant to you in the moment, right? Now, I remember like so clearly being in school and in class after class, and if it wasn't until later in life when I started getting into the business courses, I couldn't create the bandwidth in my brain to absorb what they were teaching because it just didn't feel right. Mm-hmm. That carries over, and you seem to be problem solver, right? You're looking for better ways to do it. I love the thing about texting, the customers when you're delivering pizza, like, well, there's got to be an easier way to do this and keep the customer informed and scale it. And then you graduated up into wholesaling and running ads for wholesaling. Can you explain to the audience what is wholesaling?
So wholesaling is basically to put it in simple terms, you're a middleman. You just plug a home seller in who's selling that they can't put their house on the regular market, not the 2021 regular market, anytime before this regular market, so, and then you will bring an investor who will pay cash, and you just put those two together and you'll keep a little fee in the middle.
Okay. So now you're the CEO, all-in-one real estate consultants, and you're starting to scale ways to cut through the noise, if you will, and generate leads for realtors. So we talked a little bit offline before we started, and it's the big reason why Pete's joining us today. At some point over the last maybe 10 years or so, deal making wasn't enough anymore, right? You had to become a marketer and a deal maker. Otherwise, it wasn't cutting it anymore. Many of us that are in the industry are not left brain thinkers, right? We don't have that creative side. We don't have that kind of DNA to put the ads together and make it look and feel right. And if you're trying to do things at scale like we are, it's so important for there to be consistency in the message and the branding, and everything has got to kind of jive. For us, I think our biggest issue, right, is getting the best leads we can in the most efficient way possible, and not having the agents give the feedback of, oh, these were bad leads, and then they kind of like shut off, right?
Right. That's what comes down to it. A lot of, I mean, we've run a lot of ads now. We Google a lot of Google search. We do Facebook ads as well too. Facebook seemed to be working a lot in the past, but then it like James said, it comes down to the feedback. It can only do so much. You drive a lot of ads, but you don't know if they're really good, really bad, and there's no way to really optimize after that. So I feel the feedback of what the leads are, or the quality of them, is very, very important. This way you can continue to either get more of those or adjust your strategy to go out and find other leads somewhere else.
Absolutely.
So you now have put together kind of a complete solution. You even go so far as to bookings, correct?
Oh yeah, we go all the way in.
So can you give us a roll-up of the services from top to bottom?
So the premium service, I like to call it, is pretty simple. We create your ads for you, Facebook or Google. I have a live texting team that will attempt to schedule an appointment with the lead, and I also have a call center who's calling the leads as well to try to schedule that appointment or provide a live transfer, as in they're going to get qualifications and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, I have Jane on the phone. She's looking to sell her house, 3-bed, 4-bath at 123 Main Street. Can you talk to her right now? Agent will say yes. From there, the caller passes the phone, the transfers the call to the agent. The agent takes it from there.
Seller leads is the holy grail in our business.
Yeah.
Right. So you're doing seller leads as well?
Yeah, we do buyers and sellers, but mainly sellers now because, the market.
So when you're running Google ads, are you running all types of Google ads? Are they search, display, video? What types of ads are they?
They are search ads, and we do have it showing on display, but I don't know which one's performing the best. But I'm pretty sure it's just the main search ads, because we use around 98 keywords as well. It's not an overly complicated process. I never want to bore anyone with the details, but if you really want to become good at marketing, you have to understand, in the beginning, if you want to become good at marketing, you first have to make a decision. Do you want to build your brand, or do you want leads? That's the first question. You cannot do both at the same time. I did not, at one point, you guys said all-in-one real estate consultants, right? That was my company. Last year, I just changed it to the Real Estate Robot. But I wasn't focused on branding. I was focused on the result. And just from my experience, a lot of realtors are like, I need my image here. For legality purposes, of course, you do the logos and everything. Yes, so I understand that part. But most realtors haven't made that clear decision. Do they want leads or they want branding? And so let's just say that answer is they want leads. Forget the branding. The next question you need to ask yourself is, how are you communicating with these leads? Let's just say I'm only going to provide you guys leads, right? And people say the leads are bad. Yes, leads are bad. It just happens sometimes. There's no avoiding it. You're not going to be the lucky one that gets great leads all the time. It's not going to happen. But you can be that person with the proper follow-up system. And then the person, when you are finally talking to a lead, the realtors need to stop taking. I'm not trying to attack realtors. I live this life with them, They need to stop asking the question of, when you're looking to sell your house, oh, where would you want to move to? Why can't the conversation be, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I saw that you're interested in selling your home. You know, you said you want to sell it in 3 to 6 months. I'm curious. Why did you decide to choose between 3 to 6 months? Is it something urgent? Or, you know, if you didn't sell within 3 to 6 months, would you be okay with that? Those are the questions we need to begin asking. How do we provide the value first? Take second. One of my mentors said, Khari, the way I became a rich man was like this. He was like, I learned how to divide before I multiplied. And I was like, I didn't get it when he said it, but then he was like, he learned how to divide that pie and share with everybody and give value to everyone. And then it began stacking up. I was like, oh, shoot, this is what he meant.
In 2019 is when you made the shift from all-in-one real estate consultants to real estate robot services, right?
2020, 2019, one of those, yeah.
All right. Now, as you've made this shift, are you providing data with these? So the leads come in, they get transferred to an agent. Does the office or does the individual agent get, you know, an email or something with the person's information that called, or is the agent responsible for handling that?
So once it's transferred, the agent is responsible for handling it, which is like another gift and curse, you know, because I feel for realtors as well. They wear 10 different hats in a day and they're expected to run a business. There comes a time when you have to set that line between, like, hey, I'm the marketing company, I'm not the assistant.
Okay. And how are you mobilizing this? Do you have a team of virtual assistants that are just...
Yes, sir.
Got it.
So all virtual assistants. And, you know, because I have real estate experience, you know, it's pretty easy. It really gives me a leg up on all my competition, because all these other marketers, they don't even know what a CO inspection is. You know, the bare basics. I'm like, how are you selling something and you don't even understand the process of what your client is going through? Hence, I take that same mindset that I have with realtors and I say, hey, realtors, how are you going to try to convince someone to let you list their home and you don't even know why they want to sell their home?
That's something we have found over and over and over, that technology bangs up against the real estate world. There are so many products and services out there that are being designed by tech people that don't understand the flow of a deal. They don't understand the nuance of real estate. And while in principle, some of them have wicked good ideas, they just don't translate to reality, right? There's no harmony between these apps and these third-party services and the reality of how we run our business.
And I think there's such a disconnect because marketers and realtors, we're looking at each other as if we're different, and we're not. But at the same time, there's another big problem is the people on my side, the marketing side. We're charging realtors $3,000-$4,000 a month and have no idea what it takes to even be a realtor. How is that fair to your client? You know, it's our job to properly lead the client. Most realtors do not know how to run a business, and that's okay because we're not taught that. You know, realtors are really good at doing, once they have the client, realtors are like, it's off to the races after. They'll show you 30 houses in a day. They do not care, but there's a front half missing. How do you get that first date?
So can I just follow up on one thing here? You mentioned something before, which is the biggest problem that I see as well is the follow up, right? We could drive all the leads, and you know it could be a seller lead, but someone's not ready in 3 to 6 months or whatever, and you have to continue to cultivate the lead. And I think that's where there's a big struggle for a lot of different agents. Like I said, agents are different types of people. They want now. Like, if they're ready to sell now, I'll take them. We're off to the races and we're ready to go. But if they gotta cultivate that or continue to work with that person, that's where I think there's a lot of fall off, and something that could be a good lead never ends up becoming that because they don't follow up. So do you have like a follow-up system? Because what I've been trying to implement is to get like drip campaigns or something like that, just to get the agents to interact with the client or can continue to build that relationship once they have it. But I think if there was something like maybe that you had like a robot or something like that, it would be very useful for them.
We definitely do. But there's one thing, and I hate saying it because like shoots myself in the foot. It doesn't work anymore.
Why is that?
Homeowners know that their house is worth a lot of money. Homeowners know a realtor will do anything to take the listing, including listing it at 1% to 2% on the commission side. Homeowners are not dumb to what's going on. And the problem is the drip campaign will, in this current market, when the market changes, the drip campaign is going to save you. But if we're talking about 2021, July 1st, you need to bring that personality. How do you stand out from the competition? First, you need to be able to generate the leads and not be afraid to spend the money on advertising. You're spending the money regardless. You're going to spend it on ads or you're going to spend it on not getting deals. But either way, you spend money. So that's first. The next thing is forget about how many leads are coming in. I'm a positive man. I'm a spiritual man. I don't care about the no's in my universe. I just care about the yeses. And when someone gives me the opportunity to speak to them, I'm going to over deliver and make sure it's an experience. How do I make this initial conversation an experience? How do you make your first date an experience? How do you make raising your first child an experience? That's what people need to ask themselves. And when you can do that and cultivate it, you won't need anything automated or anything of that nature. But if you can't, there's going to be a bigger problem. Of course, you're going to be taken out by machines and AI and these tech companies. Because if you're giving no personality, AI doesn't give personality either. And they can just do things 10 times faster than we can.
So you're so spot on here. I try and impart to the agents all the time, you're a connector first. That is your first job. If you think about in our own lives, not many of us are doing business on a regular basis with people we don't like, with people that we don't have some sort of connection with, right? There's always some sort of common thread or something that you identify with. And I wholeheartedly believe that if you have the right agent, once they get in there, they're going to drive value. In this market now, we have these things all the time where we pride ourselves on getting top dollar. We're not a discount brokerage. We're professional. We've been here through a whole bunch of difficult times. We were here through 9/11. We were here through the '08 crash. We were here through Superstorm Sandy. We're here through the pandemic. We're professionals. And, you know, we go in for listing appointments. And even in this market, we hear time and time again that, well, you know, this number was here, your number is here. Sometimes it's above, sometimes it's below. But when you put the time and energy into it and you're hitting your marks on your numbers, that resonates eventually with the homeowners, right? When you're taking the time to distinguish yourself. We just had a class on this, actually. Things that you can do that we guarantee no other agents are doing in listing presentations. And it's still a challenge to impart that stuff because some of it is uncomfortable for the agents to get their arms around. But you're right. If you're connecting with them and you're distinguishing yourself, that's what's going to make the difference. So we believe that we can impart that to our team. And I just want to learn more here. Like, this is a podcast, but it's also kind of an interview, right? We're like, let's see what kind of business we can do with them. You know what I'm saying? Because we're constantly trying different ways. We're constantly growing. How are your leads coming in? Are you sourcing them and leads are calling you, or are people responding to by email and then you're calling them? What's the lead life cycle look like?
So it's a pretty simple one. It's the starting point. Step one is creating an ad on Facebook or Google. From there, the lead goes to a landing page. From the landing page, they answer a 5-question survey, address, name, number, email, and there's one more time frame of looking to sell. Then after that, on the landing page, they actually have an option to self-book an appointment. And then from there, we're calling, we're texting. We also tell the agent to call and text when the lead comes in as well, because we have been cursed out many times saying, why would I work with an agent who can't even call me directly?
Absolutely.
That's really our process. It's really simple. I have not reinvented the wheel. I'm just good at what I do because it's a value. I just believe in the people first.
So how does your platform work as far as, you know, you're not paying on at least I don't think your platform is where you're paying a set amount per lead, right? It's not going into a call center. So we want to engage Khari. What does that look like?
So now we have 2 pricing models. The one we're switching to now is a pay per appointment model.
Pay per appointment.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically it's a little different. So there's an annual fee, and the annual fee is only like $1,500. Like, it's really not a lot of money for that annual fee. And then the appointment fee is $180 per appointment we set for you that you confirm that you want to take. And then you would pay your own ad spend. You want to spend $500 a month? Okay, whatever we can get for that $500, we're going to run ads and do whatever we can for you and try to set an appointment. And then after that, once you set the appointment, you pay for that appointment. So if we don't deliver on our job, we make no money.
Okay, so we want to rock and roll, right? Let's say we want to hit it. We want to hit it hard. What type of ad spend do we need to be in for?
I think to start, I would always say $1,000 a month just to play it safe. If you're using Google and you want the high intent leads and understand that the first 30 days are going to be the most brutal days of your life, there will be nothing happening. So, and it's like when I say brutal, I'm talking, you guys are in Staten Island, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You guys are going to be getting homeowners in the Jersey Shore in the first 30 days, but it's because Google really is optimizing. You know, it is a search-based platform. So it's not like Facebook where it's a pattern interrupt where people are scrolling all day. No, these are people physically going on Google, and Google's just trying to figure out, how do I narrow this in? Yes, they gave me all this information, but we still need time to do right with it.
All right. So I need you to talk about that because the agents don't get that. When we try different platforms and you try different ways of doing this, right off the gate or off the hop, you get this negative feedback, and then the agents start to pull back because they don't understand. It's like you got to pay your dues to work your way up through the ranks. Can you talk about that process a little bit?
Absolutely. So whenever you start on any advertising campaign, one, if you're in real estate, no matter what, if you guys delivered the hottest leads out here saying, hey, these people want to sell in 45 days, that realtor is going to still need to wait regardless, 45 days plus an additional closing time days to even see an ROI. So any realtor needs to understand, if you do real estate marketing, organic or paid, you will not be making money in the first 30 days, maybe not even the first 60, because even after, there's multiple variables to just close the deal, as we all know. When it comes to optimizing a campaign, though, and for those who don't know what it is, I like to say making the campaign finally work. It's basically the leads will be getting generated, and then once they begin getting generated, now it's like, okay, I don't like these leads. These keywords didn't work. Yeah, we have 92 keywords, but only 7 of these keywords are performing. This ad worked better than this ad. And now, month 2, now we have the data of what was working and what landing page worked better. Now we're like, okay, month 2, let's begin running these ads now with all the good data we have. Get rid of the bad. Month 2, let's start generating leads. Now we're generating leads, right? Which is great. But no matter what the platform is, and you cannot pay enough money to get instant gratification leads in real estate. It's impossible. Now it's going to take another 30 days of follow-up. And then it's not just follow-up, it's timing. You can't blame the marketing company for timing. Google cannot force anybody to sell their home. They can't be like, hey, you went to Google search and you said how to sell my house fast. You need to go list it with Lisa right now. You can't do it. And realtors need to stop believing that it can happen like that. Because all they're doing now is when they say, hey, you guys are generating leads for them, they're only delaying their success because they're stopping, starting. And when you stop and start online with advertising, Facebook or Google, they're going to look at you and be like, yo, this is not a business. You're not consistent. Your page isn't consistent. You're trying to change things on your landing page. All of a sudden you went from Keller Williams to EXP. Now your URL, your domain name is different. That's why I also say, are you going to focus on lead generation or branding first? And when there's so many inconsistencies that people don't, when there's so many inconsistencies, you're starting and stopping a campaign, or now you're stressing out the marketer saying, hey, this isn't working. Now the marketers are like, now they're second guessing themselves because they want to keep you as a client. They know it works, and they're going to do whatever they can to make sure you see that it works. Now the marketing agency is changing things in the back end. And if you do that in the first 30 days, oh my God, Google or Facebook are going to be like, I need you to go somewhere. Go take your ads to Yahoo or something like that.
I remember this. So when I used to work in advertising, digital advertising, main focus was driving app down. I don't know, it's working with a lot of developers. So their main acquisition was cost per acquisition. Main value KPI was cost per acquisition. The same thing you're mentioning. The first 30 days, it's all about optimizing. So if you can get past that first 30 days, then you got a pretty good client, you start to see good results. But the CPA, the cost per acquisition, will always start out, astronomical, hundreds or $150 for a download or an install. And then finally, as you optimize, it starts to come down to 50, 20, 15, 10, 5, but it has to gather that data. But if you don't have the right people, or if you don't set expectations correctly, then people think right away, it's not going to start. I'm spending way too much money. and I don't want to do this any longer. Then they stop the campaign, like I said, and then they want to come back later on, and they got to start all over again with the optimizing. So it's it brought back a lot of memories. What you're talking about.
And then
So,
if you want to throw something else in there, COVID, people went into scarcity mode. My business, we hit our first $50,000 month in business during COVID. And that's because everything was for sale. You got leads for pennies on the dollar. Imagine if you went to that marketing company last year, you're like, hey, I'm going to stick it out. I'm just going to stick it out. Because at the end of the day, you work in real estate regardless. You're getting paid commission. It doesn't matter if it's a pandemic or not. If you eat what you kill, it doesn't matter what the season is. With that, we were generating 500 leads a month on a $500 ad spend for our clients. And were our clients reaping the rewards? Then absolutely not. They're like, Khari, we want to quit. There's no money coming, nothing. I'm like, you're going to thank yourself later. Now they're sitting with, I have this client, his name's Adam Papish. He's in Kansas City. He's not too happy with me right now. I didn't do anything wrong. It's just, he's just not happy. But he's happy with his leads. I just said something to him I shouldn't have. But we're good friends. We've been through a lot for a while, But so Adam, he's been working with us for it's now been 13 months, and he's done $170,000 in GCI, and that's all Facebook and buyer leads. Oh, by the way, Adam never gave me a testimonial either. He just said, you guys need to do more. So shout out to you, Adam, if you do watch this.
well, now you could just cut this part up and you could just say Adam did 130,000, 170,000 in GCI. Boom, there's your testimonial.
Exactly.
Movie magic, baby.
But he waited. And that was the thing. He knew, he was like, listen, I know I'm not going to see a return, especially not during COVID. But he was like, but as long as you guys could deliver on your word and put me in front of the right people, I'm going to do what I have to do. And Adam, we do like for some of our clients, the good clients, we do reactivation campaigns. Like if we just see leads sitting there, we're like, hey, we're going to personally spend the money to reach back out to them and do everything. We did that with Adam's campaign. We had people texting us back saying, why are you texting me, Adam? You sold me a house a month ago. Wow. You sold my house. And that's how I found out Adam was doing all these deals. But all right. It's a time thing.
I got so many questions. So let's talk about the first 30 days. All right, Khari, we're going to bring you on board and we're going to start working together. Those first 30 days, the calls that are coming in, you guys are still vetting them, right? So by the time they get to the agent, have you weeded out the person in Point Pleasant and that sort of stuff? Or are the agents getting all the calls?
We're still going to give them everything because there's no need to waste the opportunity. Even if they say no, we're not going to do that.
Okay, so you're speaking to the people. You're going to try and live transfer where you can, right? And the agent's going to get on the call. They're going to talk about it. It's in Philly. It's in South Jersey. It's in Pennsylvania. Not for us. That lead gets put to bed. The quality calls that come in where they are able to get in for a listing appointment, how do you know, like, how do you prove this out? What I'm trying to figure out is there access to like call logs? Are we able to listen and see, is it the agent that's not closing or what's happening? How do you know where these things end?
So I have access to the call recordings because you're not allowed to share call recordings if they're not on the call. A lot of people don't know that, but yeah, it's illegal. So I have access to them. Not saying I listen to them, but if I happen to accidentally press the wrong button, it happens. So once that happens, that's from my team. And once the realtor gets it in hand, there's one, and I hate saying this, I don't believe any realtor when my team members aren't lying to me. They've helped me build this business, and I'm not like a mean, business owner. I'm very supportive of all of them and they're really honest with me. So if the realtor says consistently, like, hey, this lead, yeah, you booked the appointment, but it wasn't good. You booked the appointment, but it wasn't good. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll eat that. Don't pay me. No problem. But I'm going to call that lead back. And if it is what it said, if it is how I think it is, I'm going to take it. I was like, you can pay 180 or I could just go get a 30% referral from somebody. Either way, it's mine after that. And because it's only fair.
Sure.
You didn't pay for it. You stole from it. So I was like, I need to do something to recoup my investment.
So we're only going to be paying for leads that result in appointments in Staten Island, right?
Yeah, well, wherever your target market is. Yeah, wherever you want to.
All right. So that's on the seller lead campaign. Now, what about different asset classes? So we're a full service brokerage. We do, big numbers in residential and in commercial. Do you have a campaign that for, let's shift to buyers now. You have a campaign for buyer leads. Let's start buyer residential. I assume you have a buyer residential campaign. All right. And then is it broken down by income or by a purchase price, or is it just general?
It starts off as general, and then we begin filtering it down. So we know who your ideal buyer client is, which right now obviously is somebody sitting with $200,000 in the bank or more. But we break it down that way, and it's still the same process: live transfers, texting team, setting the appointment. But buyers really easy to come by, so we really do a retainer model with that, because we could just blow people out of the water with buyers all day.
Okay. Now, what about commercial property?
No. We do one thing very well, and we stick to it. The commercial aspect of things, one, I don't like the longevity of converting that lead.
Yep.
And it's a different type of conversation, when you're speaking with those when business owners like that. And it's not a conversation that I could train somebody to have.
Fair enough. So the team that you put together, these virtual assistants, is it the same virtual assistants you're working with regularly, or is it like an Upwork thing where it's as it comes, it comes?
Oh no, these are like mine. Like every Friday, someone's getting paid.
Got it.
Yeah, we're fully staffed. There's no outsourcing here. I always wanted control of my entire business. I don't play those. Oh, let me rely on somebody else. I have a son to feed. I'm not here to play around.
All right. So if you had to pick one, is it the seller leads that you're crushing above anyone else? Not in volume. I'm talking about in quality. Like, what do you do flat out the best? What is Khari the best? Is it buyer leads, seller leads?
Seller leads all day, because buyer leads they're simple to come by. They're too easy. It's like you step outside and you got a buyer lead. It's the value isn't there anymore, because even if I bring you a buyer that's saying, hey, I'll buy this house cash, $80,000 above asking, and close in 48 hours, the next guy's going to close in 24. And I don't want to play that game anymore, because then it's things that are out of the agent's control. And I at least want to have hey, if the agent bombs the listing appointment, that has nothing to do with it. But none of us can control the market. But the agent can always get better at listing presentations, but he can't control what's going on with the economy.
So with your seller leads, what do you think is the thing that sets you apart? Is it the messaging? Is it the targeting? Is it the creative? So follow up, stuff like that. What is it?
With Google, no, it's really not. It's none of that, actually. It's really just, it's calling the lead once the lead comes in, even as the agent, just introducing yourself, saying hi, and not making a pitch or anything like that. We really call, our first initial call with a seller lead. Well, once we figure out the time frame, is, hey, what type of conversation are we going to have? If this lead's looking to sell in 1 to 3 months, the conversation is going to be more aggressive. If they're looking to sell in 6 months, the conversation is going to be, hey, just wanted to make the introduction, let you know who we are. We're the people that you filled out the form on, and that's all. We just want to let you know what's going on.
So that's basically a no hard sell, no wanting to get in there with a pitch or anything like that. Just, hey, want to introduce myself. I'm here to help or provide any kind of value. Maybe give us some tips on the market or, something else in the neighborhood that's been selling, something like that.
Exactly. That's really all it is. And we do it in the way, my callers, they're obviously not salespeople, but they're just saying, their script would usually be if it's a 6+ month out, they're saying, hey, this is Ed calling from, Adam Papish at KW. I just want to give you a call because you filled out a form on our website in regards to selling your home. Are you still looking to sell, or did you sell your house already? Those two questions, they're going to answer something. They're like, no, I didn't sell. And then boom, 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 boom. Now we're going to start getting a little bit more information.
So I think so much of what's important here is the way the agent handles the leads at handoff, right? I mean, is that part of your process too? Do you offer any things to coach the agents up on? Not every lead is, I'll be there at 2:00 on Tuesday. I mean, do you have something that offers that process or no?
So I have these little courses that I put together. I have a course called F Your Follow-Up. So this is just showing you the actual way to follow up correctly. And they're like, I made them so short. I made them like 2-minute videos. So I have them go through that. The expectations, from an expectation standpoint, my team, like my sales guys, really know what I'm looking for. So we don't really have headache clients. That first 30 days are like whatever. But yeah, to answer that question, yeah, we have some go through some training. Do they go through it? Some of them do, some of them don't. But when they don't, I already know that in 3 months they're going to be gone.
Let's say we want to bring you on and we're going to talk offline because we're constantly trying different ways to generate consistent seller leads. Do I get you for in-market representation, or do you work with multiple people in market? How do you kind of figure that out?
So you mean as in from a realtor standpoint?
Yeah. So let's say we want to bring you on for Staten Island. This podcast is going to air, and maybe you get, no phone calls. Maybe you get 5 from other brokers in the market. Does the quality get diluted, or does it scale up as you add more ad spend?
So the simplest form possible to answer that is I don't think any of us can afford to spend enough to dilute the market with our ads. $1,000, it's not even enough to begin. You'll probably reach with $1,000 ad spend. You're probably going to reach around 1,000 people. And that's not even people filling out your lead form. That's just like reaching them. And I could be wrong. It's probably less because cost per click in the Staten Island area is like $6 to $13 a click. So yeah, you're probably going to be reaching a lot less than that. But yeah, if your ad spend is not like $50,000 a month, you'll never have anything to worry about because Zillow they're spending $78,000 a month on Google alone. So I think we're good.
Got it. Well, this is fascinating, man. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on that you guys are doing that I didn't hit on?
I really think it all boils down to the follow-up. I think that agents really need, all business owners, not just agents, they need to begin developing SOPs, standard operating procedures. So when you have a business, you need to think in terms of, if I wanted to sell this right now, could I? If I wanted to franchise this right now, could I? So standard operating procedure, for people that don't know, is just a list of how to do things for my callers. How to do a proper phone call, or how to onboard a client. Step 1, send them a welcome email. Step 2, upload the intro message into Basecamp. Click here for intro message to Basecamp. Step 3, book an onboarding appointment. If you can do that with your entire business, it's going to be so much smoother. But then you can begin delegating. The reason why agents are wearing 10 different hats, they literally could pay someone $3 to $5 an hour to do half the stuff, set up the CO appointments. They may have to pay someone extra to actually sit there. They could pay somebody to do all this extra transaction coordinating stuff if they just said, hey, this is how you fill out a contract. Step 1, input the address. Yes, it's going to take you 2 hours to create a standard operating agreement, standard operating procedure to fill out a contract. Absolutely. But you just
do it once.
Exactly. Yes, you do it once.
Yep.
And then and if you don't want to do that, let's just make it easier. While you're sitting down filling out on Dotloop the contract, download Loom. It's free, LOOM.com, and just click record and speak out loud. All right, I'm inputting their name, their number, address, etc., offer, whatever it may be. If it's listing agreement, whatever you put in there, and just do it once. And then the person that you hire say, hey, this is how you fill out an agreement. You don't want to follow up with leads. Every agent's excuse, I don't have time to follow up with leads. Well, one, if you don't have time to follow up with leads, you're going to be paying a premium. There's no way around that one. Or you could just build out a nice little follow-up system like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Virtual Assistant, this is what I want you to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I want you to text, call, and email Susie because she wants to buy a house. And this is the message I want you to send. And this is the number I want you to send it from. And then they're like, okay, there's a lot of blame that goes on in this industry. Everyone gets, it's not anyone's fault. If you don't have SOPs, how are you going to be a good boss? I hate the word boss. I mean, like leader. How can you lead someone if you don't even know where you're going? Your day-to-day is so out of whack. And then you're trying to hire a marketing company. Now you're frustrated because you gave them money. So somewhere inside you feel entitled, like, oh, they owe me. They work for me. The marketing company doesn't work for you because at the end of the day, the marketing company knows how to advertise online.
Yep.
This is why these tech companies are making hundreds of millions of dollars. because if we can provide the leads, we can go knock on every single door and just say, hey, why don't you come with us? Zillow didn't pull the rug. 80% of Zillow leads get uncalled and unresponded to. What do you think they're going to do? Zillow is paying for those leads regardless. They're going to make their money back. They're not going to sit here and be like, this isn't ethically right. They have a $50 million payroll to give out every single year. You think they're about to wait on Susie because she didn't feel like making a call or make her SOPs? No, they're not.
87% when listing complaints, 87%. The first complaint was real estate agents don't call back.
And how do real estate agents expect to survive as a collective? Everyone's so willing to be gung-ho, oh, I'm EXP, and have this cult-like mentality, but nobody's saying, when you get, hey, did you call your leads today?
Yeah, so there's, unfortunately, what happens in this business is that people come in, the market's hot, they make some money, then the market cools off and they fall off, right? And it's just a constant turnover. So what we're working really, really hard on now is building out a complete institute that talks about imparting knowledge, but also the process, exactly what you just said, making videos for everything, how to order a business card, how to get your extension, how to fill out each individual form, how to literally a how-to of the processes, but then also imparting knowledge, right? How do you distinguish yourself? How do you close? That's a whole nother separate skill set because we're building for scale, right? We want to be able to duplicate this over and over, and we want to have the agents that are going to be here long-term. I've got some people who've been with me for 17 or 18 years, but what we're trying to put together now is a scalable way as the new people come in that they have this infrastructure, and Pete's working on just a state-of-the-art killer CRM that we're so excited for that's going to automate a lot of this stuff for the agents. You know, part of the problem, Khari, is if they don't call this lead, they know another lead's coming. I sat down and reviewed leads with Pete today. I'm sitting there looking at some agents are getting 50, 60 leads per month that are office-generated leads. It's not even their book. This is it, you know, well, if I don't get to this one or I put a half-ass attempt into it, I know the next one's coming in a couple hours anyway. And that's what happens, right? So trying to capture that, remarket to them, and get them in a system where the CRM that Pete's building is going to look at how many times did you contact this person? What have you done in business development? How long have people been in the pipeline, right? To track all of that stuff to try and build elite level agents. You know, that's what we're trying to do.
And it's, how do I say this? Well, I'm just going to say it straight out. It's going to do more harm than good. You can't give realtors everything.
I know.
And
I know that's the problem.
Yeah. And we all know it.
That's the problem. You can't give everyday realtors, but you can build elite level agents that will crush.
Yes. And I see that's where you guys are headed. And it's 100% scalable.
Yep.
And like with everything you guys are talking about, I already see exactly how you could scale it literally in like 12 months. I'm talking overnight would be the easiest process ever once it's built out. It's all about creating irresistible offers, but that's a conversation for a different time. But I like where you guys are headed. We need a brokerage with individuals like yourselves to become the next Zillow. Yes. Because realtors are not safe. Compass is coming for everybody.
Yep.
What's that? Sotheby, wherever Ryan Serhant works for, he is coming. His marketing team is insane. There's this team with EXP. I forgot their name. Some Spanish dudes out of California. My friend actually does the marketing for their company. So I get the little inside scoop. They are coming to dominate because Absolutely. They're just here. They're just going to scoop up all the good agents. Like just that. If we're going to spoon feed people here, let's spoon feed the closers and just call it a day.
That's it. That's it.
Everybody want to be an agent. Nobody want to be a closer though.
Well, look, we're excited about what we're doing. We see what you see. and we think that we're gonna end up with a product that's gonna be pretty goddamn hard to compete with, because we also do the commercial side. Okay. And there's no franchises out there that are hitting on the commercial side at all. And I mean, we crush with commercial, so we're excited for it.
You guys are gonna do like Airbnbs and stuff like that as well? Someone needs to take over that Airbnb market. If you're already doing commercial, we know brick and mortar is going away little by little anyway.
Yeah, there's
company secrets. My bad.
No, that's the beauty of it, is that once you have this kind of model built, there are so many little different veins that you can put a team on to focus within. It's exciting, man. I mean, it's change, but it's exciting as hell.
We're going to look back at this, or I don't know how old you guys are, but your great grandchildren or grandchildren are going to look back and be like, what were you doing during that time? You were able to get leads for 20, 30, or even $100. Yep. You could lift your phone up on TikTok and become a celebrity overnight. Like you did stupid dances, and the next thing you know, you're sitting next to Jay-Z and AC/DC at MTV Music Awards, and no one realizes that. And when you look back at COVID, I literally went from 2020 and 2019 through half of 2020. I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 5 other people. I saw the opportunity that I had and the knowledge and just implemented, and saw that there was a problem. Everyone was generating leads, but nobody knew how to convert them. And it took my business. That first year, we did, I think it was like $196,000. And now we did that in the first quarter of 2021. But, and a wise man once told me, and I'm the wise man that told it to myself, the opportunity, the opportunities of today are not promised tomorrow.
That's right.
So, yeah.
It's a unique moment in time, man, and people are walking around not quite realizing what's happening here.
If you just learned how to get a listing, if you just waited with a marketing company for 60 days, you're selling a house. You guys are in Staten Island. You're probably selling that house $40,000 above market.
Yeah.
You're getting closings in like 7 to 14 days. I got 3 listings in 1 month back in 2019. I went through Facebook ads. It took me 3 months to close the deal, and I was dying. I was like, whatever you need, seller concessions, we'll pay the inspections. Just give me, I need to close. The realtor now shows up. They could put their feet up. Like, we got to stop with this thing acting like we're doing such a crazy thing right now. Like, oh, we're providing so much value. There are some brokers that are. I've seen some working their ass off.
Yep.
Getting that $100,000 above ask.
Yep.
But let's just call it, for the regular realtor, you're not going to have to do a lot. Go put some stuff on Zillow real quick, and then put your little post on Facebook, looking to buy or sell, hit me up, and you're going to make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. So just learn the skill to keep that machine rolling. Because once you own the machine and you own the system, it doesn't matter if the market goes sideways, up, down. It's just a different ad. But it's the same follow-up process. It's the same personality. You're showing up the same every time. And that's where you begin winning.
There's a huge difference between an order taker and a deal maker.
Yes.
We're building deal makers here.
Absolutely.
Listen, Khari Harper, how do people get a hold of you?
You could find me on Facebook, and it's simple. It's going to be, I think my spelling will be at the bottom. It's Khari and then Harper. I say some pretty blunt stuff on there. So yeah, professionalism, it's there. I always deliver on my word, but I do business unorthodox.
You're a fun follow on Instagram. I'll say that for sure.
Thank you very much. I just try to be me, because there's no point in being a business owner if you can't be yourself, right? Like,
absolutely, absolutely, amen. Listen, man, this was a great talk, and we're gonna reach out to you afterwards. All right?
Absolutely.
Stay safe.